Jesus.
That's super eerie. It matches your nails too.
It does. Boom. It's
Your
called
nails are gray.
Old Tavern Special Collection Dessert Wine. It's good. It's almost gone.
I wish I had. I'm gonna try Curious Elixirs though. Those sound good. So you know what they do to give off that like wine effect is they add adaptogenic herbs. So like ashwagandha and rhodiola and stuff. So it still
what
gives
you just sent me, what you just sent me, it's not liquor, like it's not alcohol.
No, booze free.
I was looking at it in the car when you sent it to me. I was looking at it while I was at a stop sign. I was like, oh, that's different.
Okay. Before we even get into the Timekeeper, though, how are you liking the house? I'm loving the House in the Cerulean Sea. I can't get enough.
I haven't started it yet. That's my next read. I'm about to pick it up after this. So
I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't started 365 days yet.
I read 300,
and that's next week's discussion.
Yeah. Oh, I can discuss that.
I gotta do better. I gotta do better. I'm gonna read. I just hope I can read it fast. Let me see. I'm gonna check out.
It's on Scribd.
The letters are big.
Do you have Scribd?
I might just listen. I do. I might read some of it and then listen to the rest of it.
Yeah, because you could listen to it.
You made me get it.
Yeah, speed it up, and you can listen. You could listen and read at the same time.
All right.
That's what I normally do.
Cool.
I couldn't do that with this one though. We had to read it, but it's good. It's fine. No problems.
Well. Let's get it going with the Timekeeper. When was this book written?
2012.
It seems 2014. Okay, well, 2014 was 2012.
Was it 2012? Yeah, 2012.
The first thing that struck, 2012. Yeah. All right. So for anyone who's joining in or watching after the fact, this was our inspirational fiction pick for the month of August. One of our members actually recommended this. And for me personally, I gave it 4 stars. What did you give it, Monique?
4 stars.
4 stars. Yeah, I gave it. So for me, I gave it 4 stars just because if you've read a lot of self-help books, it's not going to be like nothing like life-changing. But if it's like the first self-help book you've read or just something that you really aren't used to reading, you might find a ton of inspiration in it. That's why I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah. I actually liked it. I liked it better than the Midnight Library. I liked the fact that first, I liked the writing style. It was very short. The chapters were super short and to the point. And I like the different point of views that we get. And I like the back and forth between the present and the past. That really helped a lot too. Because there in the middle, it was kind of slow, but it's so short that you could stop and then pick it up and you're done with the book. That's kind of like what I did.
That's true.
Yeah. So I really
like books like that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a lot of how Dan Brown writes. Like I liked how, because at first I was just like, okay, I'm just bouncing character to character, but that's what kept me engaged because it was just so quick. You know, it was like a tennis match between what everyone was going through.
I've never read a Dan Brown book. I need to pick one up and read it. Maybe I'll pick that you're reading. Yeah.
Can we see my?
I see you have a whole Dan Brown show.
Yeah, so they actually had this whole set on Amazon for like $27. Okay. That's like 7 books. That's his whole collection. And so I want to start. Huh?
He only has 7 books?
He may have more, but
I thought he had a lot more.
He might have a lot more. I don't know if he has as many as some of the other more popular authors out there, but this was like his collector's edition set. So perhaps 7 is what he's working with. But yes. So basically the premise with the Timekeeper, the main character, his name, Dor, the main character Dor, he's like Father Time. He's the creator of time. He's measuring time from childhood, you know, using sticks and following the sun and the phases of the moon and using bowls with holes. And he's measuring time, and he's so calculated about every measurement that he starts to miss pieces of life. And so his redemption, once his life is over, his redemption, once he gets up to, you know, the golden gates of heaven, his redemption is to essentially like answer a few people's prayers for time, whether they want more of it or less of it, kind of come down and help them to see how his creation might have hurt or helped mankind. That's at least how I took what the book was ultimately about. And I think he, to some extent, achieved it, because like at the ending, you know, both main characters, they had a different opinion on their life going forward.
Right.
You know, or life or lack thereof. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
So I think the ending really shows you. I think the ending really shows you that they didn't take the time that they had left for granted, and they really put forward their best intentions, you know, going forward. And they both made something of themselves and to leave something behind, to leave a legacy behind. And I think that was like my favorite part about the book. Like the epilogue was amazing.
Yeah. I really appreciated a lot of the symbolism and how detailed he was when he was describing him like coming in and carrying them out when they ended up in the warehouse, and he was carrying them to both sort of have that moment with him. That was like, wow, like I can appreciate the writing style for sure there. So but why don't we answer some questions now? I found these juicy questions. The nice thing about books like this and people who have read these books before is they come out with like awesome questions that I wouldn't even have thought to ask about the books, and they really make you think. So the first one is considering Dor's eventual time. What are the dangers of such an approach to life? Oh, am I frozen?
Yeah, you froze for a second. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. All right, let me start the question.
Try it again.
So, considering Dor's... I'm frozen again?
No, there's a lag. There's a lag between me and you.
A lag?
Yeah.
You know,
but it's okay, go ahead.
Wi-Fi. Okay.
You're on Wi-Fi or off of it?
Because I am on Wi-Fi, but they're watching TV upstairs, so I don't know if that's...
Well, it's back now.
It's back now? Okay.
Yeah.
So, considering Dor's eventual obsession with measurements of time, what are the dangers of such an approach to life? Where do you draw the line? I'll leave that to you, and then I'll answer that one.
Oh my God. What are the dangers of life when you measure it by time?
Basically, like, how would an obsession with time impact like your approach to life? You know what I mean?
Well, I think if you're obsessed with it, like in the book, if you're obsessed with wanting more or less, you know, it really, you know, shadows the fact, the possibility to actually live your life, and to miss the small things and the more important things. And it makes you realize the impact that you have with those that are around you. In the book, when the time stops for them, and they're able to see how their life affected other people, that really is like an eye opener, you know. I think that that's the biggest thing, is that you don't realize the impact that you have on other people until it happens. And you know, you got to live your life and live it to the fullest, and don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, and I think in what you said too, if you're someone who's obsessed with time, and then there's someone else who's not as obsessed with time, you guys are gonna have these issues because they're here, they're in the present. They're living day to day, but your obsession with the next minute, the next hour, the next day, they're like you're taking away from everything that this could be right now. And that's the danger, because while they're comfortable here in the moment, you're in tomorrow. And how can you really enjoy life, with others and be present with humanity when you're always in the future or another moment? So yeah, I agree. That can be, I think you could draw the line with when I think about Sarah, like Sarah Lemon, one of the characters, she was obsessed, I feel like, as obsessed as Dora was, with like every decision she made was driven by time, literally. Of course, being that's part of her story, but the fact that she felt like she didn't have, I just don't have enough, so I have to tell him now, I have to do it today. And that was a place where she probably should have drew the line. I think personally he did a really good job capturing a teenage girl.
Yeah, and I had to keep telling myself, like, she is a teenage girl in high school. Like, I had to keep putting myself in her shoes. Like, how was I in high school? Because I wanted to slap her, honestly. But I understand. He did a very good job. Yes.
It was cringe. It was cringy.
I was like, oh yes.
My gosh, poor girl.
And you go from having a secret crush on him to him talking to you, and then all of a sudden you love him, and then he tries to make a pass at you, and you don't realize that he's a douche.
Yeah. And then the Facebook slamming, I couldn't. That was too real. Like, everyone jumping on the page and talking mess about her. And you know what? This is one thing that I had to say about the book, so you know how the Midnight Library, we had the trigger warnings, right? There was no trigger warning for what Sarah Lemon was going through.
No.
None.
No, there wasn't.
I didn't expect that we were going to be faced with such self-harm decisions that she was considering. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. Like, as it was coming to that, I was thinking this is the same discomfort I felt with Nora Seed.
Yeah.
In the Midnight Library.
And I think I was prepared for it, because I think it was coming down to it. Like, I think what happened with the Midnight Library is that it happened so quick, and it happened in the beginning, that you kind of weren't prepared for it. But in this book, you kind of were, like, I wasn't shocked when she tried to do it. I kind of expected it. I kind of expected that's where it was leading up to. So I wasn't as disturbed by it as I was with the Midnight Library.
Yeah. We almost had a live viewer. Did you see that?
It's my husband.
Someone almost.
It's my husband who's to do it.
Hey, hubby.
He's like, send me the link. I can't see you.
So I love it. It's great when your partner's like one of the most supportive people you have.
Yeah,
I know how I can attest to knowing how that feels to have that now. It's great. Okay. Anywho. Question 2. So chapter 36 begins with the question, can you imagine having endless time to learn? Would you want time to be endless? Why or why not? So I had to go back to chapter 36, and surprisingly enough, I actually had tabbed that page because before I even saw this question, because I actually thought it was a really great opportunity to meditate on such a question. If you could freeze a moving car and study it for hours, wander through a museum touching every artifact, the security guards never knowing you were there, I would do that.
Heck yeah, I would do that.
If I could freeze time and take it off,
learn everything about
everything. What I mean? Just take the opportunity. It's literally smelling the roses. Taking a moment to smell the roses, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I'm down with. I loved that he was able to do that. Like, just everything, and then it stopped.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Huh? Let me look at this. Let me look at that. And you're like, "Wow, I would do that." I would probably pass get some A's in high school that I got C's for.
Hello.
So yeah, you know what I mean. Okay. So we agreed that he did a great job, describing what it's like to be a teenage girl. Page 159. Let me see. Page 159. Lorraine says goodbye on New Year's Eve. Do you think she should have known something was wrong?
No, not really, because that's just the way she acts. That's just Sarah's personality. She was acting the way that she was always acting. That's why when Sarah gets a glimpse at her life after, and her mom was like, I should have known, I should have seen it, that really was a sad point for me, because
Yeah.
a lot of parents don't see it coming when their children do that. When their children are like
No.
depressed, and they have issues, if you're not a prying parent, and even sometimes prying parents, I mean, I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't really know, but I just assume that, if a kid doesn't want to talk to you, and if you're not constantly in your kid's face, I mean, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. And so I really
It's
felt
true, and I feel so bad for Lorraine.
I felt really bad for Lorraine.
I know. And the guilt that I'm sure, like in one of the later chapters, the guilt that she was carrying with the car, that Sarah was able to sort of see from top view down, like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening. This is what I've done done to my mother. Not even, I can't even say done to my mother, because it's not that she did it to her mother, she was doing it to herself, but it's the effect of what she was going through. But it's true, like if I'm holding something back, I can't wish that someone else is supposed to know what's wrong with me. I need to come forward just as much as, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we have in general in society, a huge problem with people not coming forward, not saying anything. And I'm so glad these days, like, at least that was a problem probably when this book was written. That was a much larger problem then than it is now. There's so many different organizations and messages out there that say, just it's okay. Like, it's mental health issues and things like that, or whatever you're going through. It's more okay to be vulnerable. It's more okay to bring your issues to the forefront. So, yeah. Victor Delamante.
Oh, he was another one.
He was something else. Victor. He was like.
He just treated his
I
life.
love how successful he was.
Mm-hmm.
His life was a business.
Yeah, but
his life was a business. Everybody in his life.
Nothing but his wealth and his own fortune and his own life, and living his own life. He cared nothing about the people who cared for him, and that really made me mad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
couldn't find a way to. Yeah, I couldn't empathize. I couldn't sympathize with him.
Yeah,
that's why I actually found it comical. Once he was able to see his life in the future, and everyone was, another spoiler alert. Everyone was robots, and they're like, "This is what it looks like to see a human with emotion." And I'm like, y'all chose Victor Delamante for that, because he probably showed the slightest bit of the human experience and emotion.
Let me ask you a question. How did you picture Victor Delamante in the tube with all of the wires hooked up to him? Because I have a picture in my head, and I want to see if you think it's the same thing.
I pictured him tall, lanky, brown hair, suave to the side.
He was old
and tall. I pictured him tall. He probably dyed his hair, this man. He probably dyed his hair.
So tell me why I pictured him. Have you seen Harry Potter? Have you seen any of the Harry Potter? So I pictured him as the baby version of Voldemort in the Goblet of Fire, the little nasty man. I don't know. Yeah, I pictured him like that.
Okay.
He was Voldemort.
Okay. I see now I have to watch Harry Potter again because I'm not even sure that I know who Voldemort is.
Let me see if I can pull it up. I'll show you. Voldemort.
Yes,
the,
find me a
the
picture.
bad guy.
Wait, I know who the guy is with the black hair.
No,
who's the like Harry's uncle or godfather?
Snape.
Who's that guy?
That's Snape. Hold on.
Snape. Okay.
This.
I gotta see this folder.
Hold on, that's not right. I think that's a real thing.
I just pictured him like this uppity guy, even though he was old.
Voldemort. I don't even know how to.
Let me Google Voldemort. Okay. Oh, really? Him?
There's a certain part to it. There's a certain part. Oh, here we go. I pictured him like this, and it's kind of like gross, but hear me out. Something like this. Like that. Not like as bloody or whatever, but him being frail and very like decayed, and he was naked.
This was the Cryonics part, right?
Yeah, I don't know why I thought of him like that, but I was just like, that's what you get. That's what you're gonna look like, buddy.
No, I just saw him as some suave, stuck up old dude. Oh, we've got some commentary. What's good?
Oh my God.
Kicks.
That's my husband.
Why Don Kicks?
Okay, so side note, getting away from shoes, from books. He raffles shoes on Instagram, so that's his Instagram name. If anybody wants to get some shoes, hit up the Don Kicks.
We're gonna have to put a plug in here somewhere.
I know.
I'm gonna try to link it in the description. No?
Sure.
I could link it in the description. I'm all about that.
Do that.
Support.
He keeps telling me I should raffle books, and I'm like,
you know what? That might be that. You know what? Actually, what I really want to do. So have you seen The Purge, The Forever Purge, or any of the Purges?
I've seen the one where they're voting for whatever, when it's like an election. The Purge election, election year,
election day purge.
Yeah, whatever.
Purge election day.
Yeah,
election year. I feel like for Halloween, we should do a theme where we're purging books like that. Like because I got some books to purge, and I'm gonna get a mask and everything, and a voiceover, a fake voice thingy, and I'm gonna be like, "Today is the purge." You have 24 hours.
And you could do like a purge giveaway where you could spin everybody, like you could have people enter. And then you could spin them on the wheel, like how they do with the raffles, and like whoever wins a book. There you go.
I like it. You're always thinking. This one right here, she's always thinking.
I am.
Okay.
I have all the ideas,
on the
but I can't do anything.
Speaking of this Voldemort, aka Victor Delamante.
Yes.
In what ways has his disciplined work ethic benefited him? In what ways has it limited his life experience?
I mean, it's benefited him to the fact
I feel like it benefited him the most for the ending.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Because he was able to finally give back.
Yeah, he put his work and his money to good use instead of, letting it be wasted and stolen like it would have been if things would have progressed the way that it was going. He would have lost everything and it would have stood for nothing. He would have had no legacy, basically. So him having the chance to make it right and to actually put his money and his fortune to good use, and to live. He basically was able to live through Laura, and his name and his legacy lives on through her, and her foundation, or his foundation. And eventually she found the cure for whatever it was that he had. So that was awesome.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely, I agree 100% with that. As far as the other part, in what ways it limited his life experiences, I just feel like he was so focused on preserving his life at the end of life that he probably didn't take as much advantage with the people he loved and cared about, because of this business acumen and knowing so much about cryonics and everything like that. That was a great opportunity, and anyone at the end of their life should take the opportunity to be more precious with their time. And so I just feel like his need to control every aspect of life really hurt him at the end of his life.
Yeah. And I think would also hurt him, like if he would have appreciated and took a step back to understand what life really meant. I mean, he had a wife, but it was already so later on. Like, he had no children, he had nothing, because all of his life the only thing he wanted to do was make money and make sure that he was well off and wealthy. But at the end of the day, like, he has nothing, that he didn't have any type of family or anything outside of his wife. There was no legacy for him, and he didn't experience, like, he didn't live his life with his wife the way that that you really are supposed to. He kind of took her for granted, and he missed out on a lot. But at the end, it seems like he the last 3 months of his life, he probably lived it to the best of his ability, which is good.
Yeah. And I think with his wife and everything, with her name being Grace, that like I think I hear the baby monitor. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me go quiet the baby monitor. I'll be right back.
I don't hear anything, but okay.
Quiet. Okay. Let's see what happens.
There you go. Hello, people. There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Cool. Now, cool. All right. Is it better quality now?
Yes.
So
is there a lag now?
Huh?
Is there a lag now?
Not on my end. Is there one on yours?
No.
Okay. It's even better than before.
There we go.
So I guess before I start, I just need to have no Wi-Fi, period. This is like round 5, and I'm still getting my life together on this. It's okay.
Yeah. I'll remind you next time. No Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right. So the second to last, about the question about Grace. I mean, I think her name being Grace was pretty relevant. She certainly had a lot of grace towards the end. He certainly needed a lot of grace in someone to deal with who he was towards the end. So I felt like her name had a lot of relevance. So the question itself is, do you think there is significance of Victor choosing his wife's name Grace as the emergency word to stop the cryonics process? And do you think there was significance in the fact that her name was Grace? And I'd say 100%,
Yeah.
I think grace is something we all could use a lot more of and give a lot more of our, like, even with this, I'm running this new whole situation. I am not technologically savvy in the least, but I'm trying. So I give myself grace for trying.
100%.
You know?
100%. You're doing an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. You've always been
number one fan.
I love it. So the last part, cryonics. Would you ever consider doing that?
I don't think so. I think that there's a reason why people live and die.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when your time is up, your time is up. And that's the whole point of not knowing, right? So
Right.
you can, live your life to the fullest.
This
And
is true. Yeah.
I feel like, as we get older, like we lose sight of what's important. Like for me personally, like my whole life is right now revolving around my job. And I feel like there's not enough free time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's starting to affect me mentally. Like I'm mentally drained.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes like I need to just take a step back and take a me day
Mm-hmm.
and to, do something that brings me joy, which is
Yes.
reading, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel like uh, in a sense, like I would love for time to slow down, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I would want to live longer, if that makes sense. Like I would just like more hours in the day.
I know. Well, it's kind of like the quote that I share on Instagram. There's a reason God limits our time. So
Yeah, I think I tabbed that.
yeah. And no, I'm with you. Like you have to take when I took a step back from my position, I had to actually start saying, you know what, it's okay for me to like take a day off. Even the smallest, simplest thing, getting my nails done, getting my toes done, taking a nap, like, and while my son is at daycare, taking advantage of that me time, because you have puppies, like they're just as energetic and
And,
and
and it's true. It's so true. Like for them, like they're puppies, like they're dogs, like, but they honestly they have feelings just like everyone else, and they could feel when you're stressed. They
hmm
could feel like they all want attention. So it's like I have to remind myself, like they're dogs. Yes, they're here to make me happy, but at the end of the day, I have to take care of them and I have to love them. So like I make it a point to at least play with them for like an hour a day, well, maybe not an hour, I'm lying.
yeah,
Play with them long enough to
right,
tire them out so they go to
right,
sleep. But it's like I brought them here, like I put them in my life, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna,
yes,
punish them because they want attention.
yes.
That's the same thing with like children too. Like
Mhm.
I don't have children, so I don't relate, but that's what that they're my
No,
children.
and that's exactly right. Like I don't, if I'm tired, and I try to make it a point that if there's something like he's doing, it's not if I'm being frustrated, it's not his fault. I'm
Right.
frustrated because I'm frustrated, right? Like I'm agitated because I'm agitated. It's not on him. He came to this world. He's a baby. He don't know any better. Like it's my responsibility,
Right.
to manage my emotions, to manage my energy. So I'm with you on having more time in the day. I'll take an extra 2 hours just so I
I
can
love
have more to sleep.
Yes.
Oh, what I would do with an additional, but even if we had extra time in the day, would we be doing more
Well, that's the
with
question.
that?
Would I be doing more, or would I be doing something for myself, or would I be doing something for others? And that's that's the question.
I
I would
feel
be
like as
doing
a
it for others.
Virgo, or just who I am, I feel like I'm busy, 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 busy all the time.
Yeah.
Like I can't, not, I can sit still, but I feel like I have to be productive.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women are like that.
Yeah. That's what was so when I first moved out here, like right after high school, when I first moved out here, like for I think I took a year off of like school, but I couldn't just sit down in the house and just like do nothing. Like I always had a job, and then at home, like when I was not working, I'm just like I'm bored. Like there's nothing to do, and so that's when like I enrolled myself in school. It's like I have to constantly keep doing something, keep learning something, keep my mind sharp because I didn't want it to go to waste. You know what I mean? So that's why I've always done stuff. I've always had like pressure put
Yeah.
on me, for lack of a better word. But yeah, I think I need to take a step back and like really like try and separate, work life from home life and try to, do better at that for myself.
And that's basically what Door's job was. Like
Yeah.
I had to tab this. And literally his sentence was, time was running too fast for everyone but him.
Yeah.
You know, it was just too, what kind of life? So, and that goes back to the question, would you ever consider doing that? You know, going to a cryonic lab, preserving yourself, preserving your life? The answer is no. Like, I wouldn't do that. I mean, mortality is real, you know, and I think it's actually in mortality, in knowing that we're going to die one day, that we do pursue and try to live our lives in the best fashion that we can. And that's what Victor Delamante kind of, I mean, he knew his time was up, but assuming that he was going to come back to, you know, to himself again in the future, prevented him, like we said, from, at least how I felt, connecting from so many others in other ways, more meaningful ways.
Right.
But once he had that moment with Father Time and understood, I appreciate how he turned it around and made an entire difference of his life. So,
yeah, did you notice in chapter 79 when he's going back to his wife, when Dora's going back to his wife, and he's basically like traveling back in time, right? And he keeps telling himself, he says a phrase that came to his memory: time flies. Like time was flying, but in reverse for him to go back, to get back to his wife. And that part was like, yes.
I thought that was sweet. I
love the love that he had for his wife, and the fact that he realized too late that he wasted his time trying to capture time, that he lost time with his wife. Like, so sad.
I know.
Sad.
It was really, I mean, ultimately, like, it was a very sweet book.
Yeah.
You know, it's something I would probably read like on a cozy fall day if I just, you know, if I feel like life's moving too fast or something, and I need to be reminded to slow down and smell the roses.
Yeah.
So
I like I said, I liked the epilogue. I liked the end. I actually liked when I don't know if you noticed it or if it like stuck with you, the way that Sarah, is her name Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah.
Okay. Sarah and Victor, kind of like when they both woke up together, they didn't know who they were, who each other's were. But when Dora came into the picture, they kind of clung to each other and was like, no matter what, we stick together. And I really love that for some reason.
Me too.
I think that made them think, you know, realize that, you know, that they were both scared and that they both wanted to live, but for like the right reasons.
And I feel like he had this, so he didn't have a daughter, you know, Victor Delamante had children. So I feel like he clung to Sarah as this life force of, wow, this is the meaning. This is my purpose. I need to help this. My life is over. But little girl, you got time to live. You're going to live, and we're going to see this through. You know, and for him, she's probably looking at him from a similar vantage point, like, oh my gosh, like, why am I gonna try to end my life, end my life over this little guy? Like, you don't even have any more life to live. Yours is over. I need to turn it around.
Right.
You know, they were like this reflection.
Do they? I mean, I may have missed it, but I don't think that when they woke up in the hospital, I don't think that they realized. I don't think that they remembered each other.
They didn't.
Okay, so good. I didn't miss that. But I think that they met in the hospital, right? So they were naturally drawn to each other, which I really appreciated, and I thought that was very clever, like a clever way to like close the loop, and to basically they both gave each other purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like. And that was very nice.
Yeah. Well, it was a good read. So I think, you know, I feel like it had it did have a similar theme to like the Midnight Library in freezing time and, you know, going forward to a new life and going back in time and stuff. It had similarities, but the way it was written, a lot quicker. Definitely, you can tell it was written from a different life perspective. Like, you know, someone who, Mitch Albom is probably a much older gentleman, but I feel like it was written from a much more, I want to say, universal perspective. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what age you are, you could probably relate to the story. But in the Midnight Library, I feel like it's more geared towards a certain audience, a young, maybe not a completely younger audience, but certainly not someone, people who are much later in life, like the time.
And I think the different aspects of this book compared to the Midnight Library is that this one you get multiple point of views, so you get multiple stories and multiple perspectives. In the Midnight Library, it was just like the same story over and over again, just told differently.
Groundhog Day.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh well, I think so. For anyone, if anyone's watching this or watches this in the future, I think we can both agree that we'd recommend The Timekeeper. It's a good, cute read. Quick read, very fast. I think I finished it in like a week. And that's being slow. How long did it take?
Girl, I finished it in 2 sittings.
I bet you did. Listen, this book is so cute. I nod off when I'm reading. This is me. I'm like, let me put this down.
Because we need more time, because we're always tired, see?
And you know what I do is I procrastinate. I'm procrastinating on this 365 days, but I'm sure I'm going to get at it. Oh my God.
Procrastinate all you want. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
it wasn't bad. I feel bad.
No, I'm definitely, The House in the Cerulean Sea, I'm probably going to finish that. But I can't procrastinate anymore on 365 days. So we're talking about that next week. So I'm going to be on
next week?
That's next week.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
prepared. I read it already. I'm good.
I'll listen to it on script at a minimum. I'll listen to it on script.
Do it. You could do it while you're like washing dishes and stuff.
Right. So anyone watching, next week we're going to be talking about 365 days. The week after that, The House in the Cerulean Sea. Oh my God, I love Lucy. You got listen.
I'm telling you, I'm going to start it tonight.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
I have so much bookshelf space to fill. I'm so excited.
I'm not starting it tonight. I can't. I got to finish this one.
Which one?
It's actually picking me up right now.
Let me see.
This chapter.
What is that huge book? Empire of Storms. Where is the cover?
I don't read with the dust jackets on because crazy people do that.
What?
I take the dust jackets off when I'm reading because then it gets ruined.
Do you bend it back? So I bend my books
this
back.
This is hardcover.
Oh. No, I don't. My books.
You crack your spines?
I crack my spines.
Oh my God.
You gotta break them in. When you buy shoes, do you walk flat?
Spines?
Huh?
You do not crack spines?
I crack its back. I'm like,
oh no, that is book murder.
It's easier to read when I do that.
No, I didn't even crack my spine. Look,
you did it. Oh, I see it's nice and preserved. Now look at mine. You see the
intact
spinal cracks there.
Oh my God. and it's a floppy copy. You don't.
I love it like that. It means it's worn.
Oh my God.
It's worn.
No, we don't read hardbacks with the dust jackets on, and we don't crack spines. Okay.
Book ethics 101. Okay.
It's your book. You do what you want.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, this has been fun.
This is fun. I'm about to go finish my week. Game of Thrones wine.
I know, and we're gonna have to do the book purge soon. Get some crazy, scary movie music going on.
Listen, I've been doing it though. I've been cleaning out my my bookshelves and going and putting books that I know I'm not going to read no more into like my free little library that I have down the street. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to help out the community. So
I think that's wonderful, Monique. Keep doing it. I actually, the little community book thingies that I've been posting. I want to build one of those. I think those are.
I do too. I want one in my front yard, but I don't know how to go about it.
Does it require like zoning laws? Like, can you just put one up?
It's called the free little library, and they have a website. Maybe we could look into it and see. Oh. Yeah, because there's only one in my neighborhood, and it's like all the way down the street from me. So if I have one up here, like it's not gonna clash with what's in there.
Yeah,
we won't be competing. We're technically in 2 different towns.
We're missing our Catherine. She's having a whole fun summer right now. traveling. It's okay. We're missing our Nicole. We're missing our Erin. But we got each other.
Yes.
I'm my Monique. That's all I need.
Always here.
All right, boo.